Miss Habiba Kahinde. How are you doing today?
Hi, I'm fine. Thank you. Thanks. It's really nice to see you guys again.
So without much ado, I want to welcome Camilla Nontra.
Yay!
Oh my goodness. I should come to you every day when I need.
Correct. This is Sudan.
Wow.
Sudan. Believe it or not, Sudan has more pyramids than Egypt.
Interesting.
Begin to think in a Pan-African way, because they now see that their conditions are not just about that local space, but the condition is linked to all of the other.
Hello. Good morning, everyone. Good morning from California. Good afternoon if you live where my co-hosts and co-hostess live. Welcome to the PanAfricana Show. My name is Fred. We start by thanking God. By Him we live and move and have our being. So today we have a special guest joining us for our discussion of discussing current events. I'm going to let my co-hostess Nkechi introduce him.
Hi, guys. Can you guys hear me?
Okay, we can hear you.
Okay, is that okay? Hi, guys. Welcome back. I know it's been a minute since I've been on. I've been doing a little traveling, working, etc., etc. So we do have a guest this morning, well, this afternoon, depending on where you are. I feel like he's having technical issues because I'm not seeing him here, but it's a good friend of mine, Toju. He has been a previous guest before. So is he on or is he
Yes,
having?
he is.
Yes. Yay!
It's so silly. He wanted to do a grand entrance.
I wish it was that dramatic. It's just me trying. It's me trying to get this thing done on my phone while my computer cooperates. So yeah, no grand entrance, no dramatics, no theatrics, just technology letting me down.
Hey man, the show doesn't start till you show up.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I just want to say it's always a pleasure to have you on board. For those who don't remember, tell them a little bit about who you are, just a snippet, and give them an introduction again to refresh people's memory.
Okay, so my name is Toju. I have a podcast called the Well Actually Podcast. Well, I mean, it exists. Whether I do it or not is another story. Then one of the more recent things that we discussed while I was on was I have an online grocery store for African and Caribbean goods called Niger Food Depot. So that one I do regularly. That one is ongoing, and yes. So if you like African goods, whether it's food or black soap or waist beads or whatever, Niger Food Depot is your delivery source. Because yes, we do deliver, except to Hawaii and Alaska. Because yeah.
And they deliver all the way to California. I receive my products so just so you know. Go ahead, Toju. Didn't mean to cut you.
Yeah. So that's where we're at right now. So and also part of my biography. I'm a big viewer of this show. So that's included. As a multiple time winner of the trivia contest, I feel like I had to include that.
I had to make it a little harder because of Twitch. That goes to show you he knows his African history, he knows his geography, he knows.
I feel like he's cheats, but that's the story.
Wow.
That is fine.
Wow. Okay. I'll remember that.
Please respond to that. This is not the Hannity show or the what do you call it?
All I can say is when people win, the people who lose
Lord.
often have commentary. So it's
spoken like someone who cheats regularly.
It's the way I see it is, it's when you're the one in the arena, the people who have commentary are the ones who are outside in the safety. They're not, their hands are not in the dirt.
Oh Lord.
They're not putting it on the line like those of us who win. So I get it.
Oh
Okay.
man, that's hilarious. All right, well, I want to talk a little bit, and I know we've got this entitled kind of current events, but I'm gonna run through some things just because we have a tendency to every week, 2 weeks, whatever, to hear about the same issue and the failure of government to address it. But I don't want to skip over yet another bad police interaction involving Black people and police in the United States. And we've got 2 incidents that came up this week. One being, I don't know if you all saw the video, the 8-year-old kid who the police arrested allegedly for stealing a bag of chips. And thank goodness for the brother that was there to be able to record what was going on. Just so you all know, from a legal perspective, there is no charge that an 8-year-old can. It's just not something that can be done. So the fact that they were even trying to arrest the 8-year-old is preposterous in and of itself. And I hope they get sued for millions of dollars. But did you all have an opportunity to see that video?
So I have a thing about watching videos that are online that make Black people look bad.
Mhm.
I read the commentary and I read a couple of sites that had information relating to it. Um, it's so many things. The first is, as an adult, how are you, even if somebody calls you that an 8-year-old stole something, as an adult man or woman or whatever it is, how do you approach a child and
Mhm.
say, well, I'm going to arrest you now for stealing something, and I'm going to put you in handcuffs and then send you off to jail? And then the second is, there's this, I don't know how to explain it, but I haven't really fully understood how white people do not see Black children as children.
That's deep.
It's there. It's for me, as a woman, as a Black woman. If I see a child, I see a child. I don't. It doesn't matter what race they are, whatever it is. A child is a child. But I'm still grasping with the fact that a lot of white people don't see Black children as children. Because if I was a police officer and somebody called me that a kid stole a bag of chips from their store, and I ask how old, and they say the child is 8, I would hang up and go and look for serious crime. I'm not going to make my way down there because what am I going to do? I'm going to,
Mhm.
what, after yelling at the child, that's it. But like, for the fact that, and it wasn't even just one cop,
Mhm.
it's like, what, help me understand your thought process as the cop that is putting the handcuffs on the child. That's why I said it's so many things that don't add up to me.
Absolutely. So I think we know
Before
that
we go
this
on, let's
country.
give a shout out to Echo
Oh,
Simpson
Echo,
from watching
yeah,
all the way
shout out
from
to
Ghana.
him.
Hi, Equa.
We're trying to get you on the show, brother. um, I think there are so many levels to that. I think part of the police logic, at least in the United States, is white people have historically viewed Black people as property, right?
Okay.
And the fact that we are independent and able to make our own thoughts and do and live our own lives, that's disturbing to them, right? They want to be able to understand what we're doing at all times, why we're doing it, and they feel the need to be able to intrude upon what we do at any point in time. I think what really bothers me is, like, this stuff isn't new. This stuff has been happening forever. But what used to be the excuse from our white counterparts was, well, no, I mean, I don't see any evidence, or no, this doesn't really happen. I don't believe you, blah, 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 blah. Now we've got hours and hours and hours and hours of footage, and people still have this kind of deniability factor that they're like, well, that kid must have did something wrong. What at 8 years old could you have possibly done, right, to warrant that kind of thing? Now, the other thing is, police also know that in certain communities, there's not going to be a support system or a network or money to be able to deal with the ramifications if they mess your life up. So they
Wow.
prey on people in certain communities in certain areas because they're like, oh, you don't have anybody that's going to come help you. And that's
Wow.
kind of why I'm so thankful for the guy who was able to take out the camera and start recording, and talk to them and even offer to like just pay for the chips. We don't even know that the kid actually stole anything. We don't know that. The kid said he didn't steal anything. But the officer's like, you stole chips. Now, how stealing a bag of chips warrants an arrest for an 8-year-old, I have no clue. But I'm sure they thought when they came up there that this is an 8-year-old kid. We don't see parents around. We can take advantage of the situation. We're going to scar him for life, whatever the case may be. And now he has a traumatic memory that's probably going to be processed in his mind forever.
And for crying out loud, how much is a bag of chips?
Like 50 cents.
Okay, so why would the shopkeeper even call for a bag of chips? Bruh, there are people who are stealing alcohol and stuff, and you're worried about a 50-cent chip?
Nkechi, I'll tell you something that happened yesterday. This was around 10 p.m. at the CVS walking distance from where I live. We stopped by to pick up some products, and we standing. Okay, I went to the self checkout place, and then there are two people in line, and then this guy just picks up this homeless guy, homeless white guy, picks up something and is walking out the door. So I look at the register, and she's like, "Oh, we don't do anything now because the security shot and killed somebody." I'm like, okay, you don't do anything for him. Right. If it was someone else, yeah, you probably do that because they shot and killed someone. I don't know who it was, but they shot and killed someone who stole from that particular CVS. So apparently they let go of anyone who steals. Well, they let go. They don't chase after them. So that's just to tell you how egregious.
Right. So he just
what
came.
happened
So
was.
basically, he has a free fridge, a grocery store. He just comes, picks, and then he leaves. Meanwhile, an 8-year-old child steals chips, and that's to show you that this is a child who goes into a store and steals chips. Of all the things that you can steal, there's chocolate. Because I'm thinking back to when I was 8. It's stuff like chocolate, maybe juice. He steals chips, and then you call the cops on him, and then you two, as the grown adult that you are, you drive your car fast, vroom, vroom, and then you come and then you dash out of your car to arrest an 8-year-old child. You can't even say, "Hey, listen, it's not that serious. I'll give you $1 to cover." What is it? $2. It doesn't. You don't have that human sympathy for another child because of their skin color.
Yeah.
Shout out to Anthony Walker. Good.
Oh, AD, what's going on, man?
Yeah. All right. I told you go ahead. Oh,
I think we
Can't
lost
hear
your
you.
sound. You might be muted.
I think you might be muted. Let me see. He's not muted on my end. Oops.
We'll definitely pick back up with him when he gets back in. But these things. Oh, okay. Are you back?
Oh,
we still can't hear you. Yeah.
Oh, you get on
the phone. Gonna call back in. Okay, that works. Yeah, I was just gonna say, I think we are getting to a point here that people are gonna have to make some decisions. It's a dance mix.
Oh no, he's connected on 2 devices. That's why.
No, so I was just saying, it sounds like it's a point where we're going to have to make decisions. And I guess what's frustrating here is that we see it happening over and over and over again. And we know what the response always is going to be. The police are either going to say, we were afraid for our lives, even though the person didn't have any kind of weapon, the person has nothing. We're afraid for our lives, and that gets them off. Or they're not going to be fully prosecuted because the prosecutors are also part of this system that supports policing. Or, we're just not going to get the votes in Congress to get anything legislatively done. So it kind of feels like the game is rigged from the beginning. And
guess what we do have? We do have funds to send to Ukraine. But that's
exactly. Thank you. Told you. Are you back?
Yeah, I think I'm back now.
Okay.
Oh, okay, cool.
All right. Yeah. So what I was gonna say, and it kind of ties into what you're saying now, even with the people in Ukraine, is a lot of this when people talk about privilege, it's part of it is always getting the benefit of the doubt.
Yes.
No matter what the situation calls for, our Caucasian brothers and sisters always get the benefit of the doubt, whether it's uh being whether it's something good happening to them, they've always deserved it. And if it's misbehavior, it's wait, let's hear them out. There has to be an explanation for this.
Right, because
They're not
technically they're not
evil.
used to. Yeah.
Yeah, this is not their nature. Let's understand what they have. Let's nobody rush to judgment. Let's hear them out. There has to be an explanation. Meanwhile, us, it's either shoot first, ask later, or shoot first, ask never. It's always go to the extreme of, you know what, we have to protect ourselves. We don't know what he's doing, what he's carrying. He's 8. I mean, look at Samir Rice playing with the person who called in on Samir Rice said, I'm not sure. It looks like a toy gun, but I think you should come check it out. And they came guns blazing. And it's like, no matter what the situation is, when it involves Black people, like, we don't get the benefit of the doubt. Look at what's the name of that director, Ryan Coogler. Even amongst Black people, we don't get the benefit of the doubt.
True, that is very true.
Like, he was trying to get his own money out of his account. Like, who do you know robs a bank and provides their ID and bank account number?
Justice Smollett.
Oh, well, okay. You know what? Point taken. Point taken. But yeah, it's like he's like, I don't want to be a victim here. And in his mind, he's like, he's not even thinking about the police. He's thinking of someone who just got robbed in that area. And it's like, I don't want other people in this bank seeing me withdraw this large amount of money.
Absolutely.
And yet he's the one who ends up in handcuffs with guns drawn on him. So like, no matter where we are, like, we don't get that benefit of the doubt. In fact, it's quite the opposite. Like according to and Jesse, you can speak to this more. Like, our justice system is innocent until proven guilty, and it's the complete opposite for us.
Yeah.
We always have to prove our innocence. And someone was saying something about self checkout. Like, even when I do, I'm holding my receipt. I'm holding my receipt the entire way. I'll go to the self checkout, get the things checked out. Go to a cashier and like, can you give me a bag, please? Like, I did that just yesterday. Can you give me a bag, please, while holding the receipt? Because I don't want anybody going all vigilante on me. Like, hey, did you pay for that? And that is another thing. In the absence of law enforcement, white people always deputize themselves as police, as defenders of law, as defenders of property. And like, how do you know? Like, why you came out here to buy milk? Why are you Walker Texas Ranger now? What's going on here?
Oh my God! Yes.
So that's and as for watching, I don't watch any video that involves Black trauma anymore. I can't do it.
Me too. Yes, too.
I can't. No, no. Like, all it takes is the still or the caption, and like, I know what happened here.
Yes, same here.
Because I saw the video from the Congolese guy that got. I mean, it's almost like execution style. Like,
oh, absolutely.
So I agreed. I mean, like, I didn't watch it, but then I was reading it, and I had to stop because we were fighting, and he had him down, and he actually, with his hand to the back of his head, he shot him in the back of the head. Like, that's just evil,
And you know what his alleged crime was? A driving infraction.
Yeah.
Driving infraction. Right? So things like tail lights and all that. I wanted to go back to Toja's point of like checkout. If you haven't seen it already, SNL did a skit, the Amazon store. Where like you just walk in, get stuff, and walk out. And they show like all the Black cast members like, nah.
Wow.
Yes. So it's definitely a thing in pop culture. I feel like I don't know. I'm curious as to where does the country or where do our people go from here, right? Because at first it used to be, in my mind, I thought people are racist, but with more education and more exposure, things will get better. Then we got the education and exposure, and it seems like the goalpost shifted again. So
Right.
I'm at the
That's
point where
true.
I'm like, I'm pretty much done with it. You know what I'm saying? I feel like if it's gonna be an interaction with police and I see it going left, then we both going left. Like we both just gonna have to go home in the bag. That's the way it's gonna be. Because I can't like continue to try to be nice and polite and all the stuff that our parents teach us to be, but continuously be disrespected and then have your life in jeopardy. And everybody's goal at the end of the day is to still get home, raise your kids, do right. But at some point, I think we're allowing officers to take advantage of the
Agreed.
fact that society understands that policing is a hard job, but you put the application in, right? So
That
you
part.
wanted to do that job. And if you're doing that job, that doesn't give you free reign to be able to go beyond what you're supposed to in a common interaction. So I don't know. Everybody feels differently about it, but I know me, I'm not leaving the house without my.
And also, Jesse, just to add one more thing to what you just said,
Mhm.
not only do you put in the application, you make that choice. Nobody, like, you can't become a police officer and then you say you're scared for your life. Why did
Exactly.
you put in the application? It's like me. I fill out the application. I want to be in the military. Then shock, shock, horror, horror. When they send me to Iraq and I'm on the front line, then I'm scared. Why did I put in the application? What did I think was going to happen?
Mhm.
So every time I hear that, it's like, huh? You were scared of a criminal, but you applied to fight criminals. Make it
Mhm.
make sense. Like
Right.
I don't understand.
You,
Let me contribute to that real quick. That will piss you off even more. So when you I don't know if you like, some of you probably live in like suburbs or like these really like high end areas or whatever, and you know there's something I heard where police officers actually transfer out of those departments because there's no action.
mm,
Like, so they, yeah, like uh where I used to live was a pretty hard scrabble neighborhood, and literally up the street, like if you just go further up, you get into Maplewood, which was really a really nice neighborhood, and police officers would transfer out down to Newark because there was more action there and it paid less,
mm,
but there was
What?
more action.
What?
Yes, they would. Yeah, they would transfer out. Like, it got to the point like Maplewood and South Orange are like, there's so much, like even parts of their
right.
police forces are joined because there's not a lot of action. Like what most you're doing is like construction or street closures, stuff like that. And they're like, they'd rather leave there to go to Newark and go police the people who need policing, so to speak. And another thing I wanted to add to that before is like, even if you are scared for your life, that's what the training is for. And a lot of the conversation around like policing being this hard job is they have to do whatever they can to get home.
Mm,
And if you consider firefighters, that line of thinking would never fly. Like, do
Right.
whatever you can to get home. No,
Yes.
it's you go in to make sure other people get home. Like, that is
Right.
your job.
Right. Right.
Your job is public safety. But for police, it's just understood that for police officers, you guys do whatever you can to get home, not de-escalate the situation and make sure the people you're serving get home. It's all, and that's why there's no songs about like f the firefighters. It's like, because we know once they show up, they're the ones running into the danger to make sure
Right.
like the people they're serving are rescued,
Right.
even if
absolutely.
it's at their own detriment. Meanwhile, it's the other way with the other department where they're like, I'm getting home. I don't know about the rest of y'all,
Mhm.
but for me, I'm getting home to see mines, even if I have to stop some of you from getting home.
Right.
So that's the part that I wanted to add there.
Yeah, and there's just a suspicion, I guess, that every black person is the kingpin of some drug cartel. They don't watch The Wire or Franklin Saint, and I just think
No benefit of the
we all
doubt.
walking around like that.
Right. But
Um,
this is the thing, right? It's so crazy how everybody, especially white cops, are always so suspicious of black people. Meanwhile, if you really think about it, if you pay attention to all those movies like Snowfall or whatever, the main characters work for cartels that are not even in America.
Exactly.
They're workers, like they're foot soldiers. The people who own it are somewhere else controlling the government there and the government here. But so much pressure, so much ammunition, so much power is being put on the people who are just the foot soldiers. Because even to bring it into the country, they're not using. It's not black people that are the what's it called, the mules.
Mhm.
They're just the ones that are doing peddling back here and here, and they also report to somebody else. So I don't know. I don't know. It's every
Yeah.
time I go into New York City, I see new young white men who are cops, and I always think to myself, do you guys even remotely understand what you're doing here? Like, do you really understand what your job functionalities are besides being white?
Mhm.
Do you understand that you're supposed to be fighting crime, not killing people?
To
Yeah,
them,
because
it's the same.
it's the
To
same
them, it's
exactly,
synonymous to them.
which is crazy. I
Well,
don't know.
I think that's all rooted though, like just in our history of
In the
policing.
history,
Because
yes, yeah,
it's all about catching slaves from the beginning, right? So I think it's that. And then the other thing is police unions have a lot of political power. If you've been watching Ketanji Brown Jackson's confirmation hearings, they even the liberal progressive white people in government were saying, "Oh, she has the support of all the police unions." So now it's almost as if that's a de facto requirement in order to sit on the highest court in America. The police union has to bless you,
wow,
and that is very scary because we know that there are cases coming down the pike with people challenging police for their violation of their constitutional
right,
rights.
right,
Um, but it's the power. It's like you won't be. I mean, look at the mayor of New York City now. Like you're not going to be the mayor of New York City if you are not pro police. It's not happening.
right.
Oh, Jesse, I forgot to tell you guys. Well, I got a call this earlier this week, and guess who it was from?
Who is it from?
The Fraternal Order of Police.
Oh,
Wait, what?
they
So I
want their
started asking
money.
them questions, and the guy hung up on me.
Oh, oh.
Just
Wait, what were
asked
you
a few
asking?
questions.
What were you asking?
So I said, so what's the money for? They said, oh yeah. So he came like, oh yeah, we need support from the police, helping protect the neighborhoods and stuff. I said, so what's the money for? Oh, okay. I was going along, and then I just asked him what was the money for, and I mean how big is the force and all that stuff, you know.
He was like, you asking too many questions.
Oh, I don't know
Give me
whether
your debit card.
I don't know whether he thought I was just playing him, so he figured I was just playing.
Yeah.
And then
They're interested, and they finance a whole bunch of like the politicians.
Stephanie.
Oh, hey
Hi,
Stephanie, how you
Stephanie.
doing? Yeah, it's crazy. So one theory that one of my friends who's like super conservative, I don't know how you black and conservative, but one theory that he has is he contributes to the Fraternal Order of Police because they give you a decal that you can put on your car, and for some reason he feels like it's an added layer of protection. So if they stop him, they'll see the decal and be like, "Oh, he pays us money." But it's funny if you think about just American history in general, particularly like the 1900s moving forward. We used to say if people walked into a business or into your house and asked for money for protection, they used to be called extortion. That used to be what the mob did when they're like, you need protection, you need insurance for this place, right? And that was a veiled threat. Either you pay us or we gonna be the ones that mess your place up and you have to do something about it. So now the fact that has shifted to police unions, and on top of that, there's also some good history about like how the mob infiltrated the police department.
Yeah.
So like how people, even from Irish mob, Italian mob, then crossed over and got badges and were able to be just as racist and everything from within the structure. Mm-hmm. It's just hilarious to me. So we give these people, some kind of right, or at least some kind of flexibility to be able to say what is and isn't the law. Right. But at the end of the day, just from a lawyer perspective, you guys, like the police don't run anything. Like they just bring you into the system. They're not the ones who make the decision about your guilt or innocence. So one of the things that we tell a lot of our, like, especially our teenagers, is even if the police is doing you wrong on the side of the road, this is not the time to argue your case, right? Because this is just to get you in the system. What you need to do is tell them you want a lawyer and get a bondsman. That's it. Let's get you out, and then we'll deal with the court stuff at a later point. Now, that's not to say the court thing is perfect, because there's a lot of racist judges too, and that's a whole nother story.
A lot.
Yeah,
but yes.
So Stephanie bring up some interesting points here. She says police unions power are being checked by local governments.
I'm not sure about that one. Which local government?
Ballot issues are being... Oh, Jesse, can you read it? I think I need my glasses.
As ballot issues are being raised by citizen groups who had enough. I actually believe it's because other folks are being harmed in similar fashion. Okay, well, see, I think now people are trying to be creative about how to address these things, because we do know that there are white people who are also impacted by police too, not at the same proportion as us, but there are. And we know that the outcry when it happens to a white person is going to be tremendously bigger, largely because white people are going to have money to fight it. So they're going to be like, no, you're not going to do that to my kid. He's not black.
I see, and this ties us back to Ukraine when they were talking about they were literally like telling citizens to allow the people into their homes, not into the country, into their homes. And they're like, and I guess the guy didn't realize he was saying this stuff out loud. He was like, these are not like the other ones. These are people who look just like us. And
could have been our neighbors.
So you do understand that, huh? So it's like, these are not immigrants. They are people just like us. I'm like, no, they're by definition they are immigrants if they're just not from your country. That's literally it. Like, no, but they look like us. They could have been doctors and like, you don't think Nigeria has doctors and lawyers, or Libya or Iraq or Iran or whatever? And like, no, but just these Caucasian ones are the ones that not only should we allow them into our country, into your homes, like set up your guest bedroom and let them in. and you might laugh at that, but the funniest part is they did let them in. Like, even the ones who flew from Ukraine to Mexico were like, they are getting let in before other people. Like, think about that. Like, you are literally jumping the line. Like, just because, like, it's like, and then you're saying, oh, they've given over $1 billion to Ukraine already. And yet our country has, like, there's no major city that doesn't have like a homeless situation. Right. Or teaching or schools falling apart. Or it's like, but no, Ukraine, they require this. And then the president of Ukraine is like, oh, we're going to need $7 billion monthly.
Sorry. Crackhead prices, man.
And he just really threw out that number so casually, like $7 billion, and then monthly. It's like, bro, I think you might be milking this just a tad. Like, and Biden's like, oh, we have to help our brothers and sisters. Those are not my brothers and sisters.
Exactly.
Our brothers and sisters are like over here, like. Even like the establishments that they have set up to combat these homelessness or whatever, they're underfunded. But no, we got racks on racks on racks to send across this. It's a good, because like as far as I'm concerned, when American interests, it's just about whatever they can, whatever power they can wield elsewhere, rather than looking inward. Even if you see all the Save the Children, it's always portraying Africa as this impoverished place. I'm like, dude, you have children that you can save right down the street.
Exactly.
But then it's like, no, we have to be the ones to export our goodness rather than actually like. Yeah. Oh, yes, exactly. Yeah, we're building Ukraine, and that's another part, because the actual rebuilding is going to go to some American companies.
Oh, for sure.
So
this is strategic.
It's all circular.
Think about Iraq. Think about all the other.
Yeah, this is strategic. Y'all ain't ready for Disney World Kiev.
Are we going to speak on? Are we going to speak on Disney World and their fight with Florida?
Disney World and DeSantis.
So,
Yes.
So I saw an interview. This, as much as everybody knows I don't agree with that guy, and a lot of people can't stand him anyway. But as much as I disagree, he said two smart things. He said, and do you know what I'm talking about?
Which one?
Trump.
Oh, that one. Okay.
Well, he said, the world would have been a better place with Saddam and Gaddafi. Now I was pretty upset when Gaddafi was taken out of power, because he was one of the people who wanted to unify the continent, and I believe that's why he was taken out. And he wanted to keep the money in Africa, so I believe that's why he was taken out. So definitely Gaddafi, and the place is now a mess. Libya is now
So
a
let me,
mess.
not to cut you off, Fred, just so I don't forget. Why do you think it's a smart thing for him to say? Because the type of person he is, no,
He's very sharp. Oh, he knows who
no,
is
he's
who.
not. No, he's not sharp. Sorry, he's
He
not sharp.
says things
He's
by accident.
he doesn't say things by accident. It's
No,
what
that's
he's
what I'm
saying.
saying. That
He's saying it so because he's not in power right now. If
Mhm.
he was in power back then, when they were in power, he would have done the exact
They're
same
different.
thing.
They're different truths for him. Different truths for him.
Exactly. He would have done the exact same thing, but he's playing at it's politics. You know how you need to know how to play the
Mhm.
audience. He's playing like, oh, but guess what? If I had been president, I would never have done. Yes, you would have. You'd have done worse. But to us now, because we're looking at what's going on in Ukraine, we're going to look fondly on the past and be like,
Mhm.
yeah, he's right. I mean, when he was president for 4 years, there was no war. And I'm sure if he was president back then, Gaddafi would have no.
So
He
a
almost
correction to that.
go ahead, go ahead.
There was no war. There were just bombings. There was no war.
Exactly.
That's the
And,
difference.
and it's not
That
even just that. There was
that's the
bombing
thing.
that wasn't on the news. So there was
That's the
still
thing.
stuff going on there. We just didn't hear about it because it wasn't
Mhm.
popular. We were just fixated on, oh, look,
No. I
Trump
mean,
woke
we
up
were
this
the ones
morning and ate
perpetuating
eggs.
it. We were the ones bombing. That's what I'm
Yes,
saying.
but
Like,
it wasn't
yeah.
in the
So
news. The point is, it wasn't in the news like that. We're just fixated on, oh, Trump said that my socks is black instead of white. Every media outlet will carry it for like 3 days and keep on replaying it. Meanwhile, people are suffering outside of the continent. So
Yeah.
that's him saying that I don't give him props for nothing, diddly squat. He's just as blank as this bottle in my hand. The only thing he knows how to do is play politics and make it look as if he's not an intelligent person. He's that person who sits in the middle and looks for who's asked to kiss when it is appropriate for him alone. He doesn't have anybody else's interest, not yours, not anybody else's. Yes, I'm passionate about this. He does not have anybody else's interest. He's just saying it because it wasn't him, and right now he's looking like he's trying to look like he's a good guy, so that when he runs for re-election, people be like, yeah, I do remember there was no war during. It has nothing to do with anything. He's not saying anything smart. He's just talking from his ass. Excuse me.
It's wild that he's even like considered to run for re-election when he tried to overthrow the
that wasn't the point.
government.
My whole point was that Gaddafi wasn't this evil person that was portrayed to be, and that it make him a better world. And that's one blemish on that that government's record.
Yeah, and I wanted to clarify a point too, because I know like we have a lot of people who watch us from all around the world,
Mhm.
and we are not saying we as in like all of us believe and support what is going on. This is
Yeah.
definitely a divided house in this hemisphere. President Trump has never spoken for me. Will never speak
No.
for me.
Never speak for me.
So but America is funded largely, and the reason that they have money for planes and tanks and all this stuff is because of slavery and all the money that they were able to make in exploiting black people and never paying us. And we've been asking for reparations. They don't have no money, but Ukraine, they got money every week. So there's that, you know what I'm saying? There's that. There's also, I was really upset because America's thing, I've said this on the show before, America's main export is branding. It's all it is. It's branding. You slap a flag on something and people are saluting and now they're crying. Like, it's branding. and so what happens is, in going to Ukraine, America used their branding technology to make everybody feel sorry. And I feel bad because nobody wants anybody to be in the middle of a war-ravaged place. But Ukraine ain't the first, and they won't be the last. The issue that I have is, how are you, United States of America, the main colonizer right now, upset with another white person colonizing another place, and with Vladimir Putin doing his colonization in Ukraine? It's the same thing to me.
Well,
And
there's Jesse, there's levels to it.
it's not American.
There's levels to it. The issue I think that they're having here, the US is having, is Russia didn't ask for permission. You can't just move like that. Yeah, it's true. Because he think about it. Vladimir Putin he's smart, but he's also like, he's not that smart, but he's not a dummy. He's not going to wake up one morning when he could have invaded Ukraine years ago and say, in 2022, right now, I want to invade Ukraine. No. Apparently, there's American military in Ukraine that is trying to disrupt his government in Russia, and Putin said enough is enough. I really think that it has to do with America's feeling like, because for some weird reason we're carrying it on our head, like, no, they can't do that to Ukraine. And it's like, bro, y'all didn't even know where Ukraine was 2 seconds ago. Why are you so invested? It's the oil. It's that Russia didn't take permission. It's that Russia is probably going back on an agreement that they had that we don't know about, and it's like, now they need to come and do like Captain Save a Hole, even though you know that what you're doing is trying to cover your tracks. That's literally what it is. They're trying to cover their tracks. But go on, Jesse. Sorry.
So I'm going to add another thing, because I agree with everything you said. You also got to remember the power base in America, which has always been like old white men. They're dying out. But what was the thing in their youth that made them feel like they were alive? It was the Cold War with Russia.
Yes.
We got Russia. So,
Okay.
is there a way of hyping up like the feeling, the passion of some degree of patriotism, to show that they are fighting the perceived enemy?
Yes.
But the meantime, we're looking at them like, but you're the enemy. You're
that part.
It's crazy. I don't know if y'all saw that clip with Nicole Hannah-Jones and Chris, what's his name, dude from Fox News, and he was looking like flabbergasted when he was like, no, World War II, it was the greatest generation, and those people weren't doing the discrimination. And she was like, bro,
wait, what?
Bro, did you not read a history book? And what happened to the black soldiers when they came back?
When they came back, they were hangry when they came back.
And now you see why they're banning books.
Right.
Yep.
Anyway, we're getting ahead of we're getting behind on the comments.
Oh yes.
Nah, I'm minding my own black business and helping folks where I live. Stephanie, I'm stealing, exporting our goodness. Okay.
Cultivating, sis. Cultivating. We cultivate.
Okay, so it says these rogue governors, Abbott has blockaded the border and the Republicans have turned on him. DeSantis made a move that helps Disney really. Signed that law, and they're going to charge the state for everything they've created there. Disney builds all infrastructure there. Any response to that? Tojo, I'll let you respond.
Okay. Yeah, so the whole DeSantis and Disney. So what happened was, when DeSantis put the bill forward, and I think actually signed it, Disney was like, nah, we're not going to allow that. That's ignoring the fact that Disney had been contributing to his campaign or whatever, because most of these big corporations, they both sides everything so that they can curry favor with whoever's in power.
Right.
I guess that's also part of politics. But then DeSantis is like, oh, y'all bucking back? Okay, how about I take away all your tax breaks? And the thing is, with these they want the quick wins, like, oh, he's going back against them. Like, yeah, if you take away their tax breaks, they have to make that money somewhere. And guess who's going to end up paying it? The people of Florida, because anything that you say that they're charging is the taxpayers. It's not DeSantis that's paying. It's the taxpayers that are going to end up making all those payments. And it's like, because the corporations, they're not dumb. They've gamed, like the Republicans might be. The corporations are not, because they've gamed it out. They know, okay, if I do this, he can either be reasonable and come to the like negotiating table, or he can like put his back up and like forget it. Where like the nuclear option is, we're going to charge you for everything. And they know, like, oh, if you're going to do that, we can do that as well. And like whether it's settlements for police brutality is coming out of the taxpayers' money, or situations like this where Disney has sort of like privatized the cost of a lot of things because they know it's going to help them eventually. But they've like Kissimmee, Orlando, all those areas
Lake Buena Vista.
yeah, they are charters of Disney basically, because Disney, like, we're not going to quibble with you over a couple million to do this because we know we're making it easier for people all around the world. As someone who went to Disney for 2 birthdays in a row from New Jersey, like, I understand completely all about like the Disney appeal. Even though one time I literally took the train from New Jersey down to Florida. And yeah.
Wow.
So I'm one of those Disney converts who are like, I understand, because when you get there, it's like everything is done by the minute. You know exactly how long you're going to be in, and it's like their technology for that is something that they were like, don't worry, you guys step aside, we got it. We know what we're going to do with all of this. And Florida was like, okay, like you guys got it. And now that they're at odds, it's the people of Florida that are going to pay, because obviously Disney World is not going to leave Florida. It's just going to cost everybody around them a lot more because of it.
Absolutely. And what is Florida without Disney? Right? What is, like, you've got Miami.
Part of the reason they don't pay state tax.
Oh wait, Jesse, do you want to talk about Miami? Because have you heard what's happening in Miami as well?
No, I haven't heard about Miami.
Where they are basically making the entire city hostile to tourists. And by tourists, I mean spring breakers who just happen to have our skin color, making it hostile to them, so that once they make it hostile for us, the businesses there lose money, they shut down, and then the developers can come and buy it for cheap and make everything sky rises instead of the bustling nightlife that has basically built that entire economy. So they're actively working against the businesses in Florida. Like they came up with they proposed a law to stop selling alcohol at midnight. Imagine that on South Beach. Stop selling alcohol at midnight when people are just showing up at midnight there.
Absolutely.
And at some point there was actually a curfew on South Beach. Yes.
Yeah.
And it was, you would see police patrolling, asking you where you're going. Like, yes. This year.
Miami anymore.
This year I'm talking about. This year. Imagine walking down Ocean Drive and police officers asking, where are you going?
To the beach.
Yeah. So so when you say, what is Florida without Disney World in Miami? Like, we might find out soon enough, because they're like no, there's too many. They see Black people coming to a place to have fun. Like, no, we can't have this.
Right.
Like there's too much Black joy here. We have to step in. Yeah. Right. So like, there's a lot going on.
Wow.
Well, Stephanie says we have wars in every American city daily.
Oh, absolutely.
And then Action Bowie for real.
Hey, how you doing, Action Bowie?
You guys enlighten us here.
Absolutely. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. It's that culture too. And then there'll always be another boogeyman.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, absolutely. I agree with Stephanie on that.
We are branding champions, so we will always find another boogeyman and stay. This is the funny thing though. Like, so when you think about what is the culture of the United States, right? There really is no culture outside of what Black people have created here, right? Maybe
so no culture of white America, basically.
Right. There's no culture. So everything is appropriated, and then they slap the flag on it, and it goes all over the world.
Yes.
And people love it, but it's not really a celebration, or at least it shouldn't be perceived as a celebration of the United States per se. It's a celebration of the adversity that largely people of color, have overcome in here and getting their stuff exposed. And I feel like, and just me personally, I tag that to that's the African in us. Like we always are going to be able to persevere. We're always going to be able to rise to the top. That's what we do, right? But it's the fact that, you know, America, in my opinion, could be such a great place. All they have to do is get rid of the racism. If they got rid of the racism and we were able to actually operate on an equal playing field and free to produce whatever it is we want to produce and put it out into the world, this will be a great place. But being Black in America, you operate with the understanding that that's never going to happen.
Yes. No, but it's true. You're laughing, but it's absolutely true. It's very, very true.
You're telling some people to get rid of their own built-in advantage.
Exactly.
Like
That
no,
part.
nobody. Well, what do you mean? Give them an equal shot? What? That is un-American. What do you mean? Like,
right. I don't want my
like,
double wide going to fund reparations.
you see, it's like they're like, no, yeah, like they come up with so many justifications on why certain things happen. Like, no, just racism. Like, no, just racism.
Told you, because you know why? You know when Jesse gets his reparation, he's gonna go to Seychelles and just be chilling on the beach.
But doesn't that help them? Like, oh, okay, one less Black person here.
Right.
Exactly.
Let me tell you. So we in our schooling, we don't learn about like people like Marcus Garvey. We don't learn about that. You have to go do extra stuff on your own to figure that out.
Of course.
But ever since I learned about Marcus Garvey and the UNIA, what I always wondered was that exact question. I was like, the first thing a racist person will tell you is if you don't like it here, go back, or go back to Africa. That's what they tell us. And I'm like, well, here's a brother that was trying to like finance the boats and get us back there. And what did y'all do? Y'all made up crap. And it was like, oh, tax evasion, right? Yeah. So like, even if I think what really happens is white people, and especially racist white people here, they want to have it both ways. Like they want us to leave, but they don't want our work and our good stuff that they can exploit to leave.
Finish your shift before you leave.
and leave a reservoir of extra, right?
and find your replacement.
And the only thing that really triggers that reminder to me was when they were having the big like immigration reform debates. And there would be all these Republicans who were like, oh, yeah, we need to close the border to Mexico, whatever. And I'm in North Carolina, and I'm like, that's interesting. Let me see who said something, because half those people who are saying that aren't really believing that, because y'all the main people employed for us coming out.
Exactly, for your companies. But it's true.
Oh, see, like, did you see what happened in Alabama where they were like, they're not going to hire any illegal immigrants to work their cotton fields? Mm-hmm. And then their production went down by like 95%. Because
95?
Because which white people going to work the cotton fields?
Right. They coming to us like, hey, I know.
Yeah, and who with their papers is going to go work that? Like nobody that has the option to do something else would go do that.
Exactly.
So, and they're like, no, we're going to fight this. They can't do that. Oh, damn, we're losing. Never mind. Yeah. Exactly. Never mind. They reverse course very quickly.
Yeah. And it's not just cotton. It's like poultry farms, hog farms, all the stuff that people don't really want to do unless they don't have other options. Like that stuff. And then when you work in those places, they treat you like absolute crap. So we had a poultry farm here that had to do an entire statewide rebrand of what the HR department and their job is like to encourage people to apply. So they got people looking half slavish, basically, who just finished getting beat before the camera came on. And the people are like, I love to work here. Mr. Jones, great. You know what I'm saying?
Didn't they show wasn't there a documentary on that where they really treated bad and they sexually harassed and all
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, there was a doc. I watched it. Was it a Vice documentary maybe like 2 years ago? Yeah, I watched it.
Absolutely. This happens. I mean, in the South, in the American South, it's all kinds of stuff happening at these employers out in the rural areas for sure. Because there's not a lot of other game in town. And what they're also doing, it's kind of a double whammy, because if you live in the city, they have weaponized crime to drive down property values. But at this point, all the corporations like Apple and Google that have come in here have bought that property and then built up expensive high rises that nobody can afford. So nobody can afford anything. People have to move further away from the city. There's no public transportation to get you back and forth. So your job options are limited. Then you get fed into going to the poultry farm place. But you're different. If you're from the city and you go to the poultry farm place, there are certain things that you're just not going to put up with. So it's World War II out there, right? So
Wow.
Like you say, you gonna do what to my wife? Okay, I'll be back in 5 minutes.
Sorry.
Just,
It's a different
anyway, so Stephanie, in reference to your comment, she says, leave all the seasonings. Right?
Well, the thing is, are they going to use them?
Do they know how?
Because we ain't picking up.
Exactly. And we still waiting on the check with interest.
I honestly feel like them saying that because I know California said something about reparations or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Notice how they only said that for 1 week, and then next thing you know, the government is sending Ukraine 80 billion, and it's like, who's paying? Where did this money come from? Is this the money that was for reparations? Is that what you guys are doing right now?
And what's wild about that whole story is, even as like cutting edge as it is, and California tends to do stuff, they tend to set trends. California wasn't the major slave state. You notice Mississippi ain't say nothing, Alabama ain't saying nothing. Everybody like
because they're the ones still benefiting from it right now.
Right.
You think Louisiana is ever going to suggest something like that?
Nope.
Absolutely not. Even if the rest of even if it's a federal thing, Louisiana, not us.
Absolutely. Well, I was looking at all the southern states too. I was like, oh, somebody please comment about this California reparations bill. They were like,
yeah, okay.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just crazy.
Yeah, you got to laugh at it to keep from crying. But it's
right.
all good. We got passports now, so we're gonna be traveling.
Please take advantage. Use your passport.
Yes.
If you find somewhere else that calls to your soul, go live there. Here is not the end all be all. I honestly I applaud African Americans because me living here, going through the microaggressions and all of that. Sometimes when I think back, I honestly think that if I was alive during MLK Day and I went to a restaurant and somebody poured their milk on me or spat on me, I would be in jail.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would have been in jail, or I would have pulled what's that her name?
Shakur.
Shakur. I would have pulled a Shakur and gone back to Nigeria. Find me then. But yeah, I don't know. It's a lot. It's a lot to deal with on a day in, day out basis. Like, you think you're doing good 1 week, then next thing you know, and sometimes I wonder, do police officers, do you guys even watch the news at all? Do you understand what is going on, or do you guys are just after playing video games and then going to your monthly racist meetings, then you repeat the same cycle? Because it's every
Call
month.
of Duty. Yeah.
You think those meetings are only monthly?
Weekly. I was being modest. Weekly
with refresher course and burning crosses. Absolutely.
Right. Because they're still doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, this is the thing, and I'll say this because we're coming to the end of the time, and I don't want people to be freaking out about white supremacy and all this stuff. I had the luxury of being a Black attorney in the area with very few Black people a few years back, and I got all the tea on white supremacy. Did y'all know that the white supremacy groups don't even get along with each other? Did y'all know that? Like they beef, like they shoot at each other. They don't get along.
No.
And it was a cop who told me, because the cop was like, I don't want to offend you, but my dad was in the Klan. And I was like, cool, my dad was too. Let's So he told me all the breakdown. He was like, the thing about it is, as a Klansman, you can't sell drugs. And some of these groups, they're unclean because they sell drugs. And they were beefing at that time with like Hell's Angels. And it was like a whole story. It's in the newspaper every week. And I'm sitting here like, on one hand, I feel a certain degree of calm because I'm like, as long as y'all fighting, like I ain't got to worry about nothing.
Right.
On the other hand, I'm like, this is very interesting. Do I know too much now?
Wow, I didn't know that. That's
Yes.
interesting.
Yes, changed my life. Changed my life. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So you try to get, people that are associates on both sides. So if worse come to worse, you can be like, man, those Klansmen. One thing you hate worse than me. But it's been an interesting journey. And I really hope if people, I know we got people listening from all over the world. Everybody has their problems. So there's no such thing as a perfect place. If you think that the United States is the pie in the sky, no, it's a great things here. I don't want to knock it. It's like you can come here, you can pursue a dream, make money, things like that within reason, right? Like there's some people gonna stop you when you get to a certain point. It's called the IRS.
Tell you that's enough now.
but all those things are possible. But I don't want anybody to ever think that there's just one perfect place. I think true perfection is within you and what you are comfortable with and where you're willing to be. And I encourage everybody, if you don't have a passport already, spend the money, get the passport, travel to other places, see what it's like, and find out if you like it. You never know what you like, what you don't like until you get out there and you see what's around and you read the newspaper. Not too much though, because it's depressing.
So Jesse, did you call Tom Cruise about his spot in Seychelles? Did you
Tom Cruise dodged that phone call? I'm debating now. I don't know if I want to do Seychelles or if I want to go to Zanzibar. I don't know, because I've been seeing a lot of people on TikTok at Zanzibar having a great time.
Yes, I heard it's lovely.
Yeah.
So unless you're a woman.
Oh Lord, I knew. I was waiting. I'm like, as soon as I said it's lovely, told you I was gonna bring up the story that was on Twitter last week.
What? I missed this story. What happened?
Go ahead. Tell them.
You tell. I'm only talking good things about Zanzibar.
Well, there was a Nigerian woman. So first of all, a lot of parts of Africa are very how do I put this? Hostile towards Nigerians.
Yeah.
But this one is just, I don't even know if it's like a Nigerian thing or just general despicableness. So this woman was in a resort there, and either it was members of the staff or outsiders, but they gained access. She was basically assaulted while she was on vacation there.
In her hotel room.
And like she didn't get help from the management of the hotel, even from the friggin' embassy out there. She was basically like on her own to deal with it. And she revealed all of this like last week, but the incident I believe happened last year.
Last year, yes.
And she's basically been in therapy dealing with it before she could like come out and say it. And as she said that, a whole bunch of people were like, yeah, something similar happened to them. Wow. Or even like you could be driving and the taxi driver would take you specifically through a checkpoint where you're being extorted because they know you're from out of town or something.
Wow.
And you have to send like $10,000 or something exorbitant. Yeah. And like the one person that I saw that had a similar story to that knew someone on the ground who knew like someone influential. And basically that person then called, and that's what got them released.
Wow.
So the taxi driver ended up being the one arrested because, again, you are colluding with police officers. If they're going to save their necks, they're going to arrest you, the perpetrator. Like, so it's like the driver picks you up and takes you to a police checkpoint. The police try to extort you because they know you're a foreigner. And it's like we see a lot of, unless you're staying within like a resort where everything is the best way to say it is what she experienced was something heinous, and obviously the bad things are not going to be put on TikTok or on Front Street like that. But once she put out her story, a whole bunch of other people were like, yeah, something similar happened. That someone said that there was even a member of staff hiding under the bed.
What?
Yeah. So it's like when you see all these things, like, oh, these are things you can use to keep yourself safe in terms of like door stoppers and all that. And like, I used to think that, oh, these people are being paranoid. Like, no, like they would give the key to your room to just anyone who asks because they know it's a woman traveling by herself. Like,
Wow.
yeah, because all you have to say is, "Oh, my wife is up there," and like, "Oh, go ahead." And that's even if you bother to give a reason, like, "Oh, I just want the key to that room," and like, they're just always you always have to be on your toes. So, like, yeah, some people might say their experience was amazing, and then like, yeah, I've seen a very public one that was not, and that gave other people the cover to expose what exactly happened to them as well. And so it's like, sure, that might be the vacation destination for some people. Just just watch your back, look over your shoulders, because
Wow.
apparently there's always someone watching.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. I didn't know any of that.
What a sad
and
story.
to be fair, the same thing happens in America all the time.
Right,
Like there's
right.
a hotel in DC, like specifically that one person, all they had to do was mention the name of the hotel, and like, oh
And
yeah,
then
it's probably
everybody
human
would.
trafficking,
Yes,
right?
yes,
Mhm.
Yeah.
yes.
So
yes.
it's a very popular hotel in DC that's supposed to be one of these boutique hotels, and
And it's black owned.
What?
It's black owned.
yeah, it's like you like people are checking in and they notice that people are watching them.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, like so it's like so wherever you are, no matter how expensive it is, that can be the thing that they're using to pick people off because they know you're traveling alone or whatever. Like someone was like actually actively recording something when like someone was trying to break
Yeah.
into their room.
Yeah.
Like yeah. So yeah, wherever you think is paradise, still look over your shoulder. Because yeah, there's always someone looking to profit off or make you a victim in some way.
Right.
That's the high note that we're ending on.
That's what I was just about to say. I was about to say thanks, Soju.
This week's inspiration. As always.
Thanks for bringing us all the way down.
If there's something about me, I am all about reducing people's enthusiasm. So
He is telling no lies.
so it's like, hey, don't just be like, hey, we about to get lit. No, mix in some water so you can be aware. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say.
Absolutely. Take some boxing classes and all that stuff.
Stephanie said that's why she carries. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
if you're in a state that allows that click clack, then get that click clack. That's all.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And even
Jersey,
if you're not, you can
Jersey,
drive-
not so much.
I can't say Leo. I can't say. There are
You might
things
end up
can
like
do
Plaxico
to ensure
Burress.
You are protected.
Mm-mm.
The Plaxico.
Yeah, he went to jail for shooting himself in the leg. No, don't be like that. New Jersey, New York, they see you with a gun. That's
Yeah.
no bail for you.
But it's funny because there are a lot of people in New York. Don't worry, my New York people. I'm not saying names. But there are a lot of people in New Jersey who are carrying. Just saying.
Yes, a lot of people. A lot of people.
Wink, wink.
Just don't have a broken tail light and get pulled over.
Right, that part.
Yeah, because that's how all of it happens. Like broken tail light, or now they can no longer use the scent of marijuana because it's legal now here, so they can't even
Right.
so they can't use that as an excuse to pull you over anymore. Like you can smoke marijuana anywhere you be allowed to smoke a cigarette.
Mm.
Well,
So it's like
I mean, don't forget to add that police officers can also smoke weed as long as they're off
off duty.
off duty. Yes.
Well, except in Jersey City, the mayor of Jersey City was like, "No, that doesn't make any sense." Like because if they test you, yeah, he's like, if they test you, it doesn't matter if you smoked last week or an hour ago. It's going to show up. So there's no way of knowing. So he's like, I don't want that. I don't want that being an issue at my police station. It's like, if you're a police officer in the Jersey City Police Department, you are not allowed to smoke.
I mean, what difference does it make? I see cops all the time here.
Yeah, I mean, because if you discharge a weapon or you have any kind of traffic incident, you're going to, as a police officer, you automatically have to submit to any kind of blood testing to see if you are under the influence. So in Jersey City, if you are seen to be under the influence of anything like that, that becomes something that's used against you. So it's like, for the sake of the community and the officers, you are not allowed to smoke.
Okay.
See, that's a very different reason from what I thought. I thought it was because you're gonna know where all the dope men are. Let me like, hey man, let me get a zip.
There was a spot in Bloomfield that had lines down the street because like you don't have to hide anymore. I'm just wondering how they were ready to ramp up so fast.
Wait. Hold on. You're saying something. So this morning I was running errands and I saw a long line because I live in Jersey City. I saw a long line of people outside, and I'm thinking, today's Saturday. They're probably waiting for brunch. But I
Brunch,
feel like
brunch.
exactly. But I feel like it's what you just said. The line was long. I was like, okay, we're not in
That's
New
they're
York.
going to brunch after they get out the line.
Right.
See?
That's a new
Wow.
trend called scrambled eggs.
No, no lie. In Bloomfield, there was a food truck that literally only sold donuts called Glazed and Confused, right outside where they were selling their spot. Like, see, the economy is already getting wider just because of
Exactly.
marijuana.
Damn, I should have
Business
gotten into
acumen.
it before
See,
it
look
became
at
legal.
No.
before it became legal.
Yes.
What are you suggesting?
My goodness. My goodness. Katie. Okay. I think it's time for us to pack up here. But
Before
before
we
we go, I
incriminate
just want to
ourselves.
say I don't want to scare anyone. I hope Toji didn't scare you all off. So
I hope I did. I hope I did.
I hope you did because most of you travel in bunches anyway. You don't go by yourself.
Right.
Yes, absolutely.
So again, this is a Pan-Africana show. Join us again every Saturday, same time. I wanted to talk a little smack, but I guess we'll do it behind the back screen. We told you. You know where I'm going, but we'll do it behind and then maybe we'll have one love, Stephanie. Thanks for joining us.
Yes, thanks, Steph.
Yes, we still have to come for the barbecue at your place, at your ranch.
Someone say barbecue?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
in Texas. So
Yeah,
we coming for all
fix
the
a date.
barbecue. And
Fix a
steak.
date and the whole Pan-Africana crew come down. I guess.
All expense paid, right, Stephanie?
Right.
Oh, you say yes, Juneteenth, baby. That's not too far.
in like 2 months.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah. All right. So
Yes.
please subscribe if you haven't done so already, and check us in the mail. All right. If you haven't done so already, follow us on Instagram at the PanAfricana Show. Let Jesse close us out.
Yes. So please follow us. Please subscribe. If you like the content, tell a friend about it as well. If you are interested in being a guest on the PanAfricana Show, definitely reach out to us. The best way to do that is either on Instagram at the PanAfricana Show or on Facebook, PanAfricana presented by Afriscope. But let us know. I'm also developing on TikTok. So shout out to the people who have joined us from seeing my angry post on TikTok. So feel free to reach out to us. We'd be happy to have you. Lastly, I want to make sure that we give Told You another opportunity to plug all of his stuff because he's doing amazing things. So Well Actually Podcast, if you have not already subscribed, make sure you do that. If you have not already checked out the menu items on Niger Food Depot, check that out. Unless you're in Alaska or Hawaii. We already told y'all. It's some difficulties.
Yeah, logistics are difficult up there. Yeah.
Yes.
And of course, and don't forget, with the promo code PanAfricana, you get 10% off on your Niger Food Depot order.
Yes.
So yeah.
There you go.
Okay.
Thank y'all for joining us.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Have a good
Bye,
week.
everyone.